Hi, welcome to another video tutorial for building data visualizations with Graphla. This tutorial is going to cover using Graphla to build bar charts. So I kind of assume you know what a bar chart is if you're watching this video. Bar charts are one of the most common types of visualizations out there. You have some sort of category and a measure for that category, and the amount of each measure is reflective in the size of the bar. That's what a bar graph is. This is one that I have up here right now. So of course there are lots of tools for building bar charts. You can build bar charts in Excel. So why would you build them in Graphla? Well, bar charts are just one type of visualization that you might use in your arsenal of creating visualizations of your data. Graphla is all about creating visualizations very quickly and trying out different things, coming up with different ideas, and iteratively exploring your data through rapid data visualization. So bar charts are an important part of that. It's just one tool in the arsenal. The other thing I would say is Graphla is very intuitive. It's a much more intuitive tool for building visualizations than say like Microsoft Excel. And then also once you begin playing with the data in Graphla, you'll see how quickly things kind of develop and how you can play around with it and how you can interact with the data a lot more. So with that said, I'm just going to jump right into building the visualizations. Here is a pretty simple data set. I'll provide a link to it down in the comments section. This data set just shows a population in the United States by state, broken out by various age groups. So you can see I have my state column over here. I have my age categories over here. I've got under 5 years, 5 to 13, 14 to 17, and so on. So I'm just going to start with this, and if you've seen other videos of Graphla, if you haven't, I recommend going back and watching the demo video. So I have this data here, and I'm just going to copy it. And, Graphla is all about just grabbing your data and pasting it into here, into your browser, into the Graphla tool, and starting to play with it. So I pasted that data in up here, and automatically the columns were recognized. I have a previous visualization here that I built. I'll just kind of clear that out. So here's my data. I'm pasting it in, and it gets recognized automatically by Graphla. And right here on the far left is the bar graph. So I'm going to select that. And bar graphs, pretty simple. There's two input dimensions. There's a category, and then there's a metric. So obviously I have some kind of category, some categorical value that I'm trying to understand the difference between, and I have a metric. Now what's different here with Graphla? Well, I'll just get started. I'll build a simple thing here. So let's say I want to look at these different age groups by state. So as with other examples, Graphla, it recognized the data, and then I just drag the data points into the input dimension area. So I've selected state and the under 5 years metric, and right there. So there's my simple bar graph of that. I have each of the states, and I have the amounts, the population that's under 5 years of age. And so if I hover over them, this is one of the interactive features of Graphla. Just about anything that gets built in Graphla, when you hover over it, it gives you this little tooltip telling you what it is to help you explore it more quickly. So right here, we have the state of, this is California, this is Texas, this is New York, and Florida. So obviously those are jumping to the top. So I'm not going to dwell too much on the data here and do any analysis. This is just mainly focused on using Graphla to build the visualization. So the way this is set up is I've got a category, I've got a metric, I've got multiple metrics here. The metric input dimension in Graphla can actually receive multiple values. So I'm just going to go in and start pulling in all these metrics. I have the data broken out by state, and I just want to start pulling in these different metrics here. And I'll pull in several age categories. And as I did that, each one of them was added to the visualization, and it created this grouped bar chart. So one the initial one I started out with was very simple. It was, okay, I had my categorical value and I had this single metric, and I'm create a bar graph of it. But bar graphs can show multiple metrics, and this is how bar graphs do that. They have you have a bar representing each one of the metrics that's being visualized. So in this case, in this example, it might be a little difficult to see here. There are 50 states. There are several age groups within each state. So the graph is actually, it's a little bit tricky to read because of how the way the data is all kind of smashed together. One feature that you have when building grouped bar charts that's kind of interesting is stacking. So with Graphla, you can just go down here to the options section and click on the stack bars option, and that will automatically stack each of the age groups. And then, as you can see, as I start to hover over them, it's a lot easier to read the visualization, a lot easier to explore. And as I hover over each of these, I can see the metrics. I can see what age category that falls into, and the population size within that age group. If you don't like the colors, there's also options to change that. That's something I hope to in the future kind of add more of, and make more sophisticated, add more interesting color options. Like with a lot of other visualizations, you can save it. Oh, you know what? Before I do that, if you notice here, the legend that was created, the legend is auto-generated. There's nothing you have to do to make that happen. The legend is just auto-generated from the data. You'll notice it's the bar has gotten in the way. Grab it. You can just drag the legend by clicking on it, and then just drag it wherever you want to. That makes it a lot easier. You can kind of put it wherever you need to in the visualization. Or you also have the option down here. You could even remove it completely if you wanted to. So so you've created this visualization, and you want to save it, or you want to share it in some way. Well, like every visualization in Graphla, down here in the options box, you have this export graph feature, and so you can just click on that, and there's an option there. You have two options. The first one is to download it as a PNG, which is an image file. So let's say, for example, I just wanted to copy that, and let's say I was doing a PowerPoint presentation and I wanted to put that in there. It's as easy as that, and right there I can even scroll it down and put some kind of description on it, and there's my bar chart. There's my my visualization of that data. So that's one way you can kind of get an idea of like how quickly you could play around with it. You could this is one visualization within Graphla. One of the other features about bar graphs is sometimes the data that you have, it might look a little bit different. So in this case, I had my category, and I had a column, in my data that represented each one of the metrics that was broken out for each age group. Well, let's say your data, I'm gonna take this data, I'm gonna show it to you in the same data in a completely different format. So over here, I have the same population data by state and age group, but the data is what we would probably refer to as being normalized. So by that I mean each of the metrics all the metrics fall into a single column, and what we have is, instead of having a separate column for each age group, we just have a column which says age group, and then we have values like under 5 years, 5 to 13, 14 to 17 years. So we have basically like a kind of you could see it as like a parent category, and then this child category, and then we have our metric. I didn't want, you never really know how the data is, like the format people are going to have their data stored in spreadsheets, or how they're going to be retrieving it from a database. So I wanted to be able to process this in multiple ways. So I've copied this data. This is the same data. The graph isn't going to look any different, but I just wanted to kind of show how Graphla can be different. So now I've pasted in this new data set, and I just have state, age group, and population. I just have 3 columns, and as you can see, Graphla, it auto parsed the data. I have my state, my age group, and my population. I'm going to select my bar graph visualization again, but this time I'm going to do something a little bit different. In the first case, I had my one category, my state, and then I had a population metric that I pulled over into here. And I'll do that again, and what we can see, we get the graph, and now because this is all age groups, this data is simply representing all the age groups, all the entire population for each state. But I don't see the breakout by age groups. Well, that's because the age group is stored up here. And what I can do is, you can kind of view this as, if my data is normalized, I can view it as I have a parent category, and then I have a child category. So my parent category was the state, my child category was the age group, and then I had a population metric. So as I look down here, you can see here's my grouped bar chart again. It's been built. It's the same thing, and I'll even do the stacked layout. And there I go. So that just shows you that's another way of playing around with the data. So if your data is more normalized, it's coming in more normalized, you have like a parent group and a child group. There are other visualizations that are good for this too, for looking at this sort of parent-child hierarchy, and the bar graph is no different. So perhaps you have a column in your data representing each metric. You can just select that into each metric and go into the metric input area. If your data is in this parent-child relationship, you can define them. You can think of it as, okay, I have two categories. I have a parent category and I have a child category, and I have a metric. I can pull that in, and then all the same features are still available to me. I can change the colors. I can move the legend around. I can add a title. I can export the data into this my PNG format. And there we go. It's the same thing, but just giving you different options for inputting the data. So keep that in mind as you're playing with data. If you have the data stored a little bit differently, the tool can handle that, at least for the bar chart visualization. So that's it for this tutorial. If you have any questions or comments, message me. Go to check out the homepage, graphla.com. I have more info about this project, what it is. I have links to tutorial videos on YouTube. I have a whole channel filled with tutorial videos. And then down here I have the contact information for me and more information about the project and what's going on with it. So thanks for watching, and have fun exploring your data.